Prisoner Dilemma. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 187 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and have you ever heard of game theory? And if you have, do you know the prisoner dilemma? Let's say that if you heard of one, most likely you also did about the other. But if you didn't, I would like you to stick around at the end of this video because I have a very big paradox for you where in order to win in life, you first have to lose. Before we start, as usual, if you end up liking this episode, leaving a like and a subscribe really help. They're just one click, but they really make the difference. Thank you very much. So, I will start with saying that this video is heavily inspired by a video of Veritasium that I rewatched today. I realized that I watched it a long time ago, but it was nice to, let's say, retackle this issue. Now that I have a platform where to share it, I think it's worth to have a discussion about this. So let's start with explaining to you what the prisoner dilemma is. Let's assume that you and another person are split into two rooms. Your goal is to make as many points as possible. How do you make points? Well, you have the decision of taking two actions. You either cooperate or defect. If both of you cooperate, you both get 3 points. If both of you defect, you both get 1 point. If one cooperates and the other doesn't, the one that cooperated gets 5 points and the other gets 0. I will not bore you with the whole explanation. I mean, it will require me a lot of time and this is not the right place, but I really encourage you to go watch the original video if you like this topic. But overall, it's, let's say, most people end up defecting because they assume that the other will do the same and at least they get 1 point. Whereas let's say, on paper, it would be best if both cooperated, so they both get a lot of points. And in order to validate this theory, there was a big research where several scientists were asked to submit an algorithm to play this game with other people. And this game would have been repeated many times. And let's say people started making lots of, let's say, of algorithms. So some that were more complex, some that considered patterns in what the other adversary did. Again, sky's the limit. And yet, the simplest algorithm out there won. It was tit for tat, it was called, and he had very clear rules. You always started by cooperating, and after that, you just mirror what your opponent does. And the crazy thing is that by itself, this algorithm will never win. It will either draw or straight up lose. But when playing with other, let's say, players, specifically players that tend to be cooperative and not, let's say, evil in the sense that they want to take advantage of the other person, it ends up scoring the best. What is very important to know is that this simple game that I described to you, it's at the core foundations of game theory, but it's also at the foundation of our lives. This kind of pattern emerges in nature, in politics, in human interactions. You can decline and transform, let's say, this silly game that I just described to you to real situations. This game was, let's say, utilized to, for example, study the nuclear race during the second half of the 19th century. And it was actually shown that if let's say, both parties, in this case, the US and Russia, would have just cooperated and decided not to invest trillions of dollars in creating, let's say, atomic bombs just to threaten the others, they would have, of course, be better off without spending that money and actually, just cooperating and doing something else with it. Yet they didn't. So, again, besides the historical facts and the importance of this, I again really encourage you to go and search it for yourself because it's a complex topic. If you want to go dive into it. But the lesson that I want to give to you, which is more in line with the Shower Podcast, is this: as I said at the start of today's episode, the crazy thing is that this algorithm, this strategy of being cooperative, of having simple rules, and overall just being nice. So assuming that around you people will do well, you will cooperate with them if they do, and even if they don't for a small period of time, you still give them a small benefit of the doubt. So you don't just immediately change your mind and stop cooperating forever. And this way of living, this way of doing, actually brings you success. But the you in this scenario, the you in this phrase, is not your usual self. It's not just the self in self-improvement that we have talked so much about, but it's actually the you that surrounds you. So you will not win personally. You might lose that game that you're playing with somebody. But as long as you play with that strategy and you support all the people around you, you'll be surprised to see that things will go nice, things will work, things will thrive around you. And your prize, your winning, will come from actual life, from all the things around you. Even though you lost the single game, as the usual phrase goes, you might have lost a single battle, but the war is not over. And in the end, you will win that war by just being nice. Isn't that crazy? So that was all for today. Thank you very much for listening. I know it was a bit complex, and I tried to do my best in the time that I had. But again, if you want a real explanation in technical and mathematical terms, I really encourage you again to go and listen to the Veritasium, video. But overall, I am fascinated by this concept that in order to win in life, in order to make it, you have to lose or at best draw with somebody. Fantastic. Thank you very much for listening. As always, if you ended up liking this episode, leaving a like and a subscribe really, really help. And as usual, stay consistent, stay resilient. This was the Shower Podcast, and see you tomorrow.